Good morning, my name is Antoinette Navana and you are listening to the Body and Mind interviews. Body and Mind is your health and wellness online directory for professionals. And today Body and Mind is welcoming Wayne Farrell, and he's a coach that works with NLP. And good morning.
Good morning, Antoinette. Thanks for having me.
I would like to know a little bit about your journey and how did you get started on doing the work that you're doing? What was it that came up in your life that you kind of thought, this is what I want to do?
Well, Antoinette, to be quite honest, the real thing that got me into coaching originally was I wanted to be a better dad. I went and did my original life coaching course, decided it was really interesting, got into business coaching, accelerated learning. And I was working with a business coach at that stage, and she said, well, why don't you look at NLP? And at first I thought it was quite manipulative. That was sort of my understanding. And it was only then really looking into it deeper that I thought, you know what, this really is a set of techniques that can help myself and help many other people.
Thank you. Wayne, tell us about the NLP coaching. I see that NLP is like the user manual for your brain, which is something we all need. What is NLP coaching about?
The training that I deliver includes NLP coaching and timeline therapy. These modalities actually sit beautifully together. When we think about coaching as a whole, moving us from where we are to where we want to be, often people talk about either that's a goal or overcoming a problem. If we look at many of the other types of modalities, gets the client to stay in the past, or wallow in the past, many of our therapies. And as we know, coaching is about moving forward. And so the beauty about NLP then and timeline therapy is actually to help the client very quickly overcome something that might have happened in the past, whether that be, phobias, traumatic events, whatever that might be, and then utilizing the skills and the techniques to help that energy be released to actually then focus and then moving them forward, to really empower them to then go and achieve that outcome that they want. I think many people set these goals, but they get unconsciously hijacked with limiting beliefs, these negative emotions and things that they struggle with in their past. And so they can't actually focus on moving forward.
Yeah, that's it's bringing up so many things as you're talking, because I'm in a process at the moment of decluttering and downsizing, and I'm aware of how my mind is still trying to hold on to those things, and the process of going through of letting go of things, that's also part of NLP. The more we let go of the microcosm and the macrocosm, it's decluttering your mind, decluttering your home. So I completely get what you're saying with regards to that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had the experience where, you were driving or you're just sitting down and all of a sudden something that you haven't thought about for quite some time, it's just boom, there your unconscious mind throws it up at you. And, this thought is, yo, man, I thought I dealt with that. And, that's just an example of how our unconscious mind very often suppresses. And when I say suppress, it just means kind of keeps out of our awareness some of the things that and the experiences that we've had in the past. And yet, although we're not consciously aware of it, it drags and drains so much energy, which actually prevents us, really in that belief and being able to move forward and achieve what it is that we want.
Yeah, exactly. So what does NLP stand for? What is the whole process with the mind? I understand a little bit about NLP, but for those who are listening and haven't really heard about NLP, what is the whole process and what does it stand for?
Well, NLP, the traditional description would be neuro-linguistic programming. But if you asked 100 people what NLP is, you'll probably get 100 different answers. And they'll all be correct in their own way, but essentially it is how we take in information, how we then process that information, and the programs that we are running unconsciously. So much of NLP, or should I say pretty much all of NLP, has been based and created through this process of modeling people that were really excellent in the outcomes that they achieved. And so sort of the three major people would be Fritz Perls, the creator of Gestalt therapy, Virginia Satir, who was a renowned family therapist, and Milton Erickson, who was both a medical doctor as well as a really phenomenal hypnotherapist. Now, as many other people have been modeled, but essentially the beauty of NLP is to be able to notice how is somebody else getting really excellent results. How can we model that so that we can learn how to get those results in much less time? And then also, how can we install those programs within other people? So, if you've got a particular program that you're running that doesn't serve you, we can very easily change that so that, you then get the outcome that you want. And coming back to this idea of it's a user manual for the mind, we've got such a wonderful ability to create in our mind. And very often people create negative things. It's like Montaigne said. He said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." And so if we've got that potential to create that, well, what if we actually change our focus and focus on the things that we do want to create positive outcomes? And that's just, pretty much just a very surface level of what NLP really can do for us.
Yeah, that's correct. And again, it's thinking me of how we are so good at self-sabotage and the things that we are thinking and then immediately kind of sabotage ourselves before we even started. So those are things that are really important for working with somebody like yourself that are doing the coaching. So you will start off with where somebody is at in their belief system and then where they want to be, correct?
Yeah, and the difference between sort of what we do compared to maybe a number of other coaches is that much of coaching, or certainly many new coaches, do transactional coaching. And so to give you an analogy, if you think of the old song, "There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza," she would say, "Well, fix it, dear Henry." And that's really transactional. It's sorting out a particular problem.
Yeah, I'm going to sing that the whole day today.
Whereas transformational coaching is actually saying, well, how do we get that hole in the first place? Let's patch it, but also let's not get it again in the future. Or if you find yourself in an environment like that, how do you overcome it so that you don't have the same set of problems? And NLP and many of the methodologies that we teach in the training actually, help us and underpin that idea of transformation.
I read that you run courses that's available for people who want to learn more about coaching with NLP. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I've got the pleasure to actually train internationally. So I train in the UK, Amsterdam, Portugal, South Africa. And so we do a 7-day practitioner training, which is the introduction training, and then a 14-day master practitioner, which, as the name suggests, takes your skill to a higher level. And those will, depending on what our students decide or which path they decide to take, will include everything from NLP, coaching, timeline therapy, hypnosis, mindfulness, and body language, among another few bonuses that they receive. But sort of the entire package, really, to help somebody transform both their own life and, of course, the people that they'll work with.
Great. And I wanted you to just give me a few minutes just of timeline therapy. I'm quite interested in understanding what that is about as well.
Sure. Okay. So, they've been talking about timelines for a few hundred years, but Dr. Tad James and Wyatt Woodsmall wrote the book Timeline Therapy and the Basis of Personality around 1988. Essentially, if we could imagine that most people have an idea where their past is. So, example, many people say, oh, my past is behind me, my future is ahead of me. We could imagine that all of the events that have happened in our life, all of the memories, are almost like little, think of them as almost parked cars along a long motorway. And the motorway, in this case, suggesting our timeline. Each of these events and the emotions that are tied to them gets stored within gestalts. So essentially, you've got a gestalt for every emotion, whether that's a negative or positive emotion. And many of these negative emotions, of course, are like anchors weighing us down. So with timeline, we can very quickly go get rid of, example, anger, fear. Get rid of fear, get rid of traumatic experiences, get rid of sadness, help through the grieving process, install goals in our future timeline. All of these things happen really, really quickly. Think of something like PTSD, which traditionally might take, for going to see a psychologist, sometimes 12, 24 months. We can actually get rid of in as little as an hour. So it's an extremely powerful set of techniques. And it's not invasive because we don't need to know the history or the actual event itself. So if I worked with a lady that was raped, she doesn't have to relive the experience. And that's really, really beautiful, certainly from the client's point of view, and, very empowering for them.
Well, that sounds amazing, and something that I would really be interested in to learn more about. Wayne, thank you very much. It's been a lovely chat and very interesting chatting to you. Can you let me know how people can get hold of you, especially people, through Skype? Can they work with you through Skype or any other medium instead of coming to see you personally? So give us your contact details and how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, awesome. Antoinette, my website is coachingwithnlp.co, and I've got a contact form through there. My telephone number's on there as well. I see most of my clients, or work with most of my clients, via Skype, as it so happens, because I travel quite a bit with the training, and my clients are international. So most of my clients are done through Skype, but you can contact me via the website. The telephone numbers are on there, or simply directly with the email, which is wayne@coachingwithnlp.co.
Great. And then, of course, you can also go to the Body and Mind website, which is www.bodyandmind.co.za, and you can just put into the search bar Coaching NLP or NLP, and you'll be able to find Wayne Farrell's details and a link to his website on the Body and Mind website, which is hosting all of our practitioners on there, and then as well as our app, which we have now on Android and iPhone. You can now download that and also find all our practitioners or search for Wayne on the app. All right, Wayne, well, thank you for your information today and sharing your great work, and wish you very well with what you're doing, and may we heal all those minds that are in struggle on this planet.
Thank you so much for your time.